Hello and welcome to yet another YouTube video here on this channel. This is another one of the productivity news videos. I have to tell you that some of the news here are a bit old, like dating back to July old. It is just that I haven't been paying enough attention, so some of them have actually just passed me without me being able to remember them or to have them in a video. It is so hard to keep up with all of these productivity applications, but I will try to do a better job going forward. So let's start with this first one, which is Xtiles. And Xtiles have now released a new or released some new features from July 26th. So as I said, it's been a while, but here we have a lot of new features and like improvements, but I will cover a couple that I find really important. So the timeline view I think is really important because I feel like Xtiles is trying to be more of a visual project manager, and even though they are trying to also appeal in their marketing to a lot of just regular productivity nerds and productivity app users, I think their main goal is to be more tailored towards teams. And as a person who works in a theme, timeline view is really important, and it is really important for a lot of people. So I feel like you can't have a perfect like productivity application for teams and even for personal use as well without having some sort of timeline view. In most cases, these timeline views are hidden underneath a paid plan, so you will have to pay to get the timeline view. But that haven't been an issue for me. At least I'm willing to pay to get a timeline view, but I feel like this is a significant update. Another like significant update or improvement, I'm not sure what to call this, is that you now can see properties in the gallery view. You couldn't do that before. So it now displays properties in the gallery view. And one thing Xtiles have to like keep in mind, even though it is a little bit of a different product compared to the likes of Notion and Anytype, it still competes in that area. It competes with the things like Anytype and Notion, and both of those applications are developing quite fast, and they are doing a lot of great things or a lot of good things both in the product and in the marketing, which might make it a little hard for an application like Xtiles to grow. But apart from that, we have like region settings, color labels, custom tile collections. This is a fun one. Sorry, custom tile colors. This is a fun one. Again, more of an improvement than a feature. You have page archiving. This might be really good in order to like archive things that you aren't using anymore. You have a form view, not necessarily something I have ever thought I would use in a productivity app, but you can now also save pages as a template. That's why I really wanted to cover this this like update for Xtiles, because some of the things here are major. This one is also a major feature. Why this isn't higher up on the list, I don't know, but this is a really major feature. So that was some of the big updates for Xtiles. Next up, we have Reclaim, that is now part of Dropbox. This is also actually 1 month old. The time really flies, but Reclaim will now be a part of Dropbox, which I think is really exciting. So both Notion and Dropbox are buying calendar applications and putting them into their product, which I find really fun. Uh, so, for those of you who haven't tested out Reclaim, it's an AI calendar application, and it has been really good. I have played around with it a couple of times, but I don't actually use I don't use calendar applications that much. When it comes to what will happen now, they have a field called or a title called What to Expect Now. They are going to continue focusing on building towards the Reclaim roadmap. Key priorities are Outlook support, which I think is really important. This is one of the reasons for me not actually using Reclaim as my productivity application, simply because, or as my calendar application when I was looking for one, simply because it doesn't have Outlook and I use Outlook, unfortunately. They are also going to migrate users to the new Smart Meetings Habit 2.0 and building towards the release of Reclaim Assistant and Smart Scheduling for one-off meetings. So they will continue to develop the application, but it is now a part of the Dropbox suite. And I'm really excited to see what Dropbox is trying to do. I know that Notion is trying to do some of the same things. They bought Chrome Calendar and they put it like into the Notion product. And there are two parts of this. One I will come back to in the next news segment, but the first thing is that I think a lot of these applications with like large language models, AI, want to have more information stored within the same suite so they can access as much of that information as possible for the AI to provide the best answers as possible. I think that is one part of it, and I think that is what Dropbox is trying to do, to have as much information inside of one application as possible or inside of one suite as possible, because if they're not able to do that, things like Google and Microsoft will just run away with everything. Because just to use a Teams example, I at my day job we use the Microsoft ecosystem and we have a Copilot for 365 licenses. Basically, what that is that Copilot can access all of your files, your meetings, your calendar, everything, and it sort of becomes your personal assistant. Unfortunately, other productivity applications like Dropbox, Notion, um, Xtiles, and some of the others I've mentioned can't actually do that with these large language models because they can't access that information. So buying up applications like this in order to become bigger and store more information about you and what you do, and how you do it and when you do it, actually becomes really important for large language models to work perfectly inside of these applications. So that is something that I think is really important, and I think that is why Dropbox have chosen to go and buy a calendar application. And I think Reclaim is a perfect application to buy um, when it comes to when it comes to AI, because it's called Reclaim AI and they do an amazing job with AI. So last up we have let's call it leaks. So Notion has an event in October where new features will be shown, and just in general you will see where the product is heading. So that is in October, but we have seen some links. So we have the developer URL for Notion Mail, as well as a logo which has been trending on Twitter. It is called X. I always forget that, but on X and on Reddit. So we might actually be getting Notion Mail. And that comes back to my last point. So Notion bought Chrome Calendar a while back, and we got Notion Calendar, which a lot of people are really happy about and actually using on a day-to-day basis. They also went ahead and bought Skiff, and Skiff actually had things like pages, and they had things like mail experience as well as a calendar, and the last thing they had was email, of course, which is the most important thing for this video. And when they bought a skiff, that is actually what I think they're using now, or I am pretty sure that that is the thing they're using now to release Notion's mail. And again, here, there is one out of two reasons for Notion doing this. The first one is that Notion is a really big productivity application that might lose to the likes of Google and Microsoft because of the things I mentioned with AI, especially Microsoft, since Microsoft has its own similar like Notion experience called Microsoft Loop, which isn't too good, but it is there and it is getting developed. So I think that it is really important for Notion to be able to store, again, as much information as possible for large language models or Notion AI to work properly. And there are still some issues with Notion AI that I am hoping will get better. But the point being that you can use the Ask interface, the chat interface inside of Notion, to get answers to everything because they have everything. The second reason, which I think would be much more fun, but it is much more unrealistic. But I am so excited about the idea that I have made a whole separate video on the topic, which is coming out quite soon, and that is the fact that I think, or I hope that Notion is actually coming for the likes of Microsoft and Google. I would love to see in the like productivity for teams and business productivity space. I would love to see a suite come and compete with Microsoft and with Google. Do I think that it is really easy and it will happen? Most likely not, but I really hope that it will happen. And I think Notion is getting to the level where it is big enough and popular enough to at least try, but of course there are risks to that. Uh, I do still think though that Notion with all of this wants to go more towards the business market because it is always easier to make more money B2B than it is B2C. But that was everything for today's like productivity news segment. I will try to make more of these because there are a lot of things happening. Scrintl, for example, is releasing their new like canvas. Again, coming back to that in a separate video. But if you're interested in productivity and tech news and mental health, that's the three things I mainly talk about. So please hit that subscribe button. I think it's down here somewhere. Anyways, thank you so much for watching today's video.